Dear friends in the Dhamma, Essentially Free, a DhammaTalk by S. Susaradam. The Buddha once said, "All I teach is suffering and the end of suffering." We have thousands of books about Buddhism, Dhamma, Abhidhamma, and different parts of the Buddhist teachings. But what the Buddha really teaches is just this: suffering and the end of suffering. So why is there so much evil and suffering in our world? Even among Buddhists you can see a lot of quarrels, fights and problems going on. So what is at the root of all these problems? At the root of all quarrels is ignorance and greed. But if we see all these negative traits among human society, we should not lose faith in humanity. You must not lose faith in humanity. Humanity is an ocean. If a few drops of the ocean are dirty, the ocean does not become dirty, according to Mahatma Gandhi. We have many problems in our modern day society. Even our education system is not designed to create intelligent, wise people, but to create good workers. As one cynic remarked, in our education system, the children are happy to learn more and more about less and less, till they finally end up knowing a lot about nothing. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Because we are now in an age of awakening, the child of man is ready to awake. The rebellion of mind has begun. So we are extraordinary beings, usually living an ordinary life. But this extraordinariness is in you. So whenever you start with any kind of spiritual practice, this extraordinary nature comes to the forefront. Unfortunately, we can also not rely on Orthodox religions and their priesthood. In every country and in every age, the priest has been hostile to liberty. He is always in alliance with the despot, always abating his abuses, according to Michael Caesarian. There is no religion higher than the truth. So what we should always remember, we can practice different religions, we can have different rituals and cultures, but the Dharma, the truth, is standing above all these religions. What we need in our modern day society is a universal religion, which could be the deeper parts of Buddhism, called a new Buddhism or a new religion altogether. So the deeper parts, the real Dharma practice, the real practice of meditation leading to peace and happiness, making people a valuable member of our society. According to the Buddha, we should believe nothing, no matter where you read it or who said it, no matter even if the Buddha has said it, unless it agrees with you, your own reason and your own common sense. Only then accept it as something good, as something useful. In meditation, we usually get a deeper understanding of anicca, the impermanence of all things. Impermanency of things is the rising and changing of things. or the disappearance of things that have become or arisen, meaning that these things never persist in the same way, but that they are vanishing and dissolving from moment to moment. We also understand dukkha, or the suffering nature of all things. So bodily and mental suffering, the unsatisfactory nature and insecurity of all things. And we understand anatta, not self or non-ego, the egolessness or impersonality of all things. Where suffering exists, no sufferer is found. The deeds are, but no doer of the deeds is there. Nirvana is, but not the man that enters it. The path is, but no traveler on it is seen. Our human society has really been corrupted by two things, by money and the blind belief in God. We had a great gift, and we gave it all up for money and God. We gave it up for the high priest. It's God's will. That's what they say. That means he can do anything he wants anyway. So why pray in the first place? Seems like a big waste of time. In Buddhism, we do not believe in any creator God. We believe there are many spirits and gods around, but that does not necessarily mean that they are more advanced than we are. Instead, we rely on yoga and meditation systems, coming mainly out of India. All these systems have been devised for the express purpose of cleaning your psyche and your DNA. Yoga has to do with cleaning and hygiene. Yoga means to link back, to die together, to unite or make one again. So meaning to die together your consciousness with the universal divine consciousness. A yogi masters his emotions and pranic energy. A yogi manages to successfully master his or her emotions and sexual energy not by force, but through purification of brain and body cells, and then by absorption of vital prana. The transmutation of sex into inner peace, bliss, joy and love is the wonderful end result. What is also called nature's great conspiracy. So what is this conspiracy and how serious is it? Everyone is subject to this grand conspiracy of nature that diminishes the quality of life, starting in one's teens, in order to perpetuate the species and to keep the soul bound within the prison of the physical. And that is exactly what it is doing. Keep us in the prison of the physical. There's a theory that the human being has not one brain but three, and there's a lot of evidence which supports this theory. So the reason human behavior is so strange is that we have not one but three brains. The three brains are incompatible, and also they try to work together, they often fail. The researcher MacLean says this of the three brains and how they operate. Three interconnected biological computers, each with its own special intelligence, its own subjectivity, its own sense of time and space, and its own memory. So they are the R complex, the limbic system, and the neocortex. The crocodile part of us deals with the basic survival instinct and reproductive functions, the 5 F's. The second part is the horse brain, or could be compared with a horse. It deals all with feelings. This is the level many women are typically operating in. The computer part is where our reason resides. This is the level of the philosophers, the scientists, the mathematicians. Few of humanity rise to the world of reason and consciousness, powered by the logic circuit of the computer brain. The highest arena is uniquely human. So usually people mostly use brain number 1 and brain number 2, and rarely trouble brain number 3. It lies dormant and dusty in most people, like some never visited old dusty library. In fact, many men struggle to use anything more than the crocodile brain. The computer brain, sadly, does not dominate the lower brains. The limbic system, the seat of the emotions, usually hijacks the higher mental functions. Reason is put to the service of the emotions, rather than the emotions being in the service of reason. So it is like a crocodile sitting inside our brain. The reptilian brain is said to be rigid, obsessive, compulsive, ritualistic and paranoid. It is prone to repetitive programmed behaviors, with little evidence of learning from mistakes. The sexual practices disrupt the flow of prana through the vital glands of the brain, making the feeling of contentment and true satisfaction impossible. The overall effect keeps society much more dangerous, spiritual dead, and unable to give and receive unconditional love. So we are pure consciousness having a human experience. The consciousness realization of one's true nature, which is Sat Chit Anand. Sat is existence of truth, Chit means consciousness, and Anand is bliss, which are the 3 main aspects of enlightenment. So our being is Sat Chit Anand. We are the existence of truth, consciousness, and pure bliss. We are now recently we moved into the age of Aquarius. The sign of Aquarius is opening up, discovering, and enlightenment. It will bring upheavals and exposure of all corruption in order to restore harmony in a higher way of being. Individuals' lives will also dramatically change and will be transformed. And especially in spiritual practices like yoga and meditation, people get more and more into it. They like to work with their mind, to understand and to realize higher stages of consciousness. According to Plato, society is always moving through these 4 stages. We start at chaos, we move on to theocracy, followed by aristocracy, and then we move to democracy. Once democracy gets utterly corrupted and turns into a kind of tyranny, we move back to chaos. And then again theocracy, aristocracy, and again democracy. So we are now at the end of democracy, where democracy turns into tyranny. And if human beings are not waking up in time, we will be soon back at chaos. Our modern society, our globe is ruled by toxic individuals. Now, toxic individuals do not like nice places. They feel at home in chaos, in corruption, in wars and stagnation, in suffering. That's why they try to turn this globe into a place of war and suffering. We can also see cruelty against nature. This general disregard for nature, the cruelty against animals. We are destroying our own living environment for short-term selfish gains. So killing Mother Earth is not a very wise thing to do. You must first recognize these plants are also living, breathing beings, children of Mother Earth. Bob Marley said once, "We refuse to be what you want us to be. We are what we are. So rebel, rebel." We have to move to a higher plane of consciousness. We are magnificent beings, members of the family of light. You are here to make a change, to create a shift, assist in the transition. Ultimately, reality is an illusion. We are living in a dreamlike state. But that does not excuse intolerance or the practice of destroying our environment, which will be the learning ground for future generations. All religions, worth its name, have one thing in common. They have one common purpose: to set people free. If any religion or sect or spiritual group is creating division, hate, racism, sectarism, then I am not in need of that religion. Blind believing radicals should never be called religious. I have no need of such a religion. And unfortunately, that is very much the case with many religions. Their only purpose is to divide and rule. So know thyself, find out for yourself, work with your mind and your consciousness. Free your mind from all the conditioning. Free your mind and attain stages of awakening. So connect to your spiritual body. Your emotions connect you with the spiritual body, and the spiritual body exists on a multi-dimensional level. See the connectedness of all things. There are many realities. See the whole picture. We are under a kind of psychological manipulation. The ultimate tyranny in a society is not controlled by martial law. It is controlled by a psychological manipulation of consciousness, through which reality is defined, so that those who exist within it do not even realize they are in a prison. They do not even realize that there is something outside of where they exist. But the choice is always ours, the choice of freedom and the choice to evolve. We are the family of light, so we have to wake up all together. This revolution for freedom will not be fought with guns, but on the level of consciousness. What happens on Earth now will affect the entire universe, from vibrant nothingness, space, time and consciousness. Now it's the time to enter a higher level of consciousness. So a small planet is waking up. The old model is based on greed and fear. We will witness unprecedented change. A shift is coming right now. We are the generation of hope. A small planet is waking up. There are two things you need if you are to uncover and communicate what is really happening in the world. One is to be free of any dogmatic belief system. The second is not to give a damn what people think and say about you, or at least not to let that influence your decisions, according to David Icke. You may have heard about the peace index. All things in the universe are connected, and like never before, we can see this as a fact of life. So the more people are meditate in a certain area, the more the peace in that area. And you can see the two lines are closely connected. So if in a certain area, let's say Washington DC, a certain percentage of people are practicing meditation, they affect the whole city of Washington in a positive way. So the crime rate in that city will go down. There's a nice poem from an African child. It says this: when I born, I black. When I grow up, I black. When I go in sun, I black. When I scared, I black. When I sick, I black. When I die, I black. I still black. And you white fellows, when you born, you pink. When you grow up, you white. When you go in sun, you red. When you cold, you blue. When you scared, you yellow. When you sick, you green. When you die, you gray. And you call me colored. Different colors are like different colored suits. So racism is pure folly. The Buddha once said there is no difference between race, colors, nations, sex and religions. The only difference we can make is if somebody lives a good life or somebody lives a bad life. That's the only distinction we can make based on our own actions, on the way we live. So racism is the purest proof, surest proof that somebody is utterly ignorant and does not know anything about Dharma or Buddhism. No problem can be solved on the level of consciousness at which it was created. Deepak Chopra. So ask yourself, what kind of world do I want to live in? How can I make it happen? How can I make a difference? And often problems are solved on the level of meditation. So practice meditation. Through meditation often the answers come automatically. So all great changes are preceded by chaos. As the old world falls apart, new world may be born. We are humans only through humanity. So the purification of time is a renewal of time. We are getting very close to this time now. We can see that this huge spiritual revolution, this massive change is about to happen. If you are on the way to awakening, there are then signs of awakening. So if you experience any of these, then it could mean that you are well on the way to awakening. Usually on the way you feel emotional up and downs. You feel more connected with nature, changes in energy levels, feeling of change, recurring patterns, food intolerance, the desire to find yourself, synchronicity occurrences, quicker manifestations, and the change in your hobbies. So any of these could be a sign of your spiritual awakening. Plato gave once this allegory of the cave. He says humanity is like people living in a cave or imprisoned in a cave, their backs to the entrance. So people are walking by the cave, they can only see the shades of these people on the cave wall. So they take these shades, these moving shades on the cave wall as their reality. Their whole life they have not seen anything else. They take these shadows as reality. What they would have to do is to turn around and look in the direction of the entrance and see the people as they actually walk by the cave or walk out of the cave. So in a similar manner, we are living in a dream-like state. We take it as reality, but only after we wake up, we realize enlightenment, we will see reality as it actually is. According to the Buddha, it is better to conquer yourself than to win 1,000 battles. Conquer yourself, then victory is yours. We are all one family. We stand united, and as we learn new things about our universe day by day, we should grow together. We should forget about the differences and see our common grounds. So maybe we be mature enough to take our place among the stars. So meditation and yoga practices, the opening of the chakras, is a move in the right direction. The right direction towards awakening and enlightenment. So why do we need religions at all? Belief is just dividing us, blinded by belief. Belief in all its forms is used to control the human mind. It's not important what that belief is. Any strong belief means limitation. Belief equals control. You believe in something powerfully, and your progress towards enlightenment is limited. Belief builds walls around us. It rebels all borders that challenge that belief. And we are living our lives in an isolated island. So the solution is expansion, love and harmony. Peace is all that matters, but spiritual seeking is usually met with little success in today's world. In a vibrational field that is spiritually as polluted as that of the earth. The Buddha says, I was reborn again and again. Each time I got destroyed, lost my identity, and each time I got better, advanced to a better stage. So light, love, wisdom, this is the direction to go. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Martin Luther King. The love we are talking about is not the love between two partners, not the sensual love. This is not the highest form of love. In Buddhism we have the word metta, which means universal love, universal kindness. And often it is compared to the love of a mother to her son. A kiss from my mother made me a painter, Benjamin West. So this universal love, metta, loving kindness, is the real thing. So if we do metta meditation, what we mean with it is this universal love, loving kindness. If love is universal, then no one can be left out. Deepak Chopra. So who is the creator of all this, of our world? The answer is we are. We create and we perceive. We create our own game of life. In sleep we rest, go back home again. So reality is an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our cycle of compassion to embrace all living beings. So wake up, humanity, look beyond the illusion. You have been fooled for long enough. So humans, get off your knees, rise up, wake up, and look beyond this illusion. Lady Diana said this: I like to be a free spirit. Some don't like that, but that's the way I am. And I want to end this short DhammaTalk with a gatha from the Buddha, where he says, Kiccho manusa patilapo, Kiccho macchana jividang, Kiccho sattama savanang, Kiccho puttanupadu. Meaning, the human rebirth is very rare. It is very rare to be reborn as a human being. It is very rare to live as a human being and to be intelligent. It's very rare to hear the Dhamma, and it is very rare to meet a Buddha. So we all have a lot of good karma. We are reborn as human beings. We are intelligent. We know the Buddhist teaching. We know the practice of meditation. And we are living in a peaceful, quiet country where spiritual practices are possible. So I hope you will use this rare opportunity. Change is good. It is the only constant to be in the universe. So be the change. So be the change you want to see in the world. Look within and awaken. So may you all be well and happy. Use this rare opportunity of a human rebirth. Use the technique of meditation and free your mind from all the defilements. Keep going in your meditation and reach stages of awakening. May you all wake up, free your mind, and reach stages of enlightenment. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.